So you're not working together, you're building separate and distinct businesses.
Separate and distinct.
And then the spousalpreneur, that's where one of you may be working a 9 to 5 while the other is building the business. Then there's also the couplepreneur. This is where both of you are working in the same business together.
Yes. So this resource that we're going to share with you right now, it doesn't matter if you are either one of those. The spousalpreneurs, which is where we were when we first got married. I was already in full-time entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm. I was working a 9 to 5
in banking and wealth management. And then we became indiepreneurs when he left the bank. And so I still had my business working that full time. Mm-hmm. You launched your business.
I did. I launched my business. Actually, I started working on it technically a year mm-hmm. prior to me leaving the banking world. But yes, mm-hmm. I launched my business. And now, of course, together between her business and then my business and then our business, here we are.
Yes. So the indiepreneurs are the couples that have individual businesses. And then you have the couplepreneurs when you're actually building in the same business together. So let's talk about this monthly conversation. We're just going to share this gold with you. And hopefully, if you don't have like a checklist or anything of that nature, I'm going to say this first too. Go ahead and we have one for you. We have something called the Marriedpreneur operating system that you can download for free over at marriedpreneurlife.com. So this being the end of the month, if you're not having a monthly legacy combo with each other, this is a great time to start. It really does make, and it will make the rest of the year go so much smoother in your legacy building. And then also what it's going to do is also make sure that you all are on the same page and give you the clarity that you've been looking for, as well as you're building your businesses, the increase in income. Amen to that, somebody. Those of you on Facebook, hey, who are just now joining, good to see you all. Go ahead and press that share button, as well as we're giving some really practical information, practical steps on this day. I was going to say on this week, but on this day. So here it is. Now, we're going to share with you just an overview of our monthly legacy combo, what that looks like. But first, it's important for us to share with you why we even do a legacy combo every single month as marriedpreneurs, and why we believe you should too if you're a married entrepreneur.
That's right. Because drifting is subtle, and let me also say easy. The reason why we're doing this is to establish that there needs to be a way to keep you all on track with regards to your annual legacy strategy. So the reason why we're doing this is to help you stay on track. So in case you might have drifted somewhere at some point, you can get back on track for your annual legacy strategy.
Absolutely. And so this is the perfect time to do any type of tweaks that you're like, this hasn't been working, or this is working, or let's do this, or we fell off. This is a great time to get back on. Or
halfway point through the year is a great time to reevaluate and reassess.
Mm-hmm. So just real quick, when we do our combos, we're not going to go through the whole thing right now, but just an overview of it. We break it down into two sections. So we have the marriage aspect of the meeting, and then we have the business aspect of the meeting. And these are really, really easy to start implementing as you all are building and continuing to build out the structure for your business. Even if you are at the very beginning and you're just like, we don't even know what it's supposed to look like yet. Well, this is a great tool to start putting in place, to start these conversations and starting this habit as you're growing and you're building that momentum. And even if you're well established and you've been running your business for decades, and you haven't been doing these type of meetings, it really is a great practice to put in place, because then you actually have the space created for you both to talk about what you need to talk about from that month. And so let's talk about the marriage piece real quick. This aspect, now, regardless if you're indiepreneur, spousalpreneur, or couplepreneurs, this aspect of your monthly legacy meeting is so critical, because we always start with marriage. Even though we may be having a business meeting or a legacy meeting, because it's not just business, the marriage too. We always start with marriage first, because we always start with what's most important for us and to us. We always start with us.
Yeah, it's very easy to let the marriage go into the background or make assumptions about the marriage by just diving directly into the business. So yes, we absolutely start with the marriage, because it also reiterates for us that the marriage is indeed the priority. So with that being said, when you think about this is an opportunity for you all, as we do, to talk about, so what has this last year been like for us, or should I say the last 6 months or 7 months been like for us. And this is a time to really express and expound on certain feelings that you may be having, things that you may have experienced, thoughts you may have had that, could have changed from the earlier part of the year.
Or from the last 30 days.
Or from the last 30 days. It really doesn't matter. So the point is that this is an opportunity to really talk about and expound on those feelings that you two are feeling, and really to help update your spouse as to where you are, because believe it or not, that's going to play a very integral role in you guys going forward, because it may be something that gets reevaluated, maybe gets replaced with something else, but you really won't know that if you just sort of skip over it or make assumptions about it. So don't neglect, even though this is about marriedpreneurs, don't neglect the importance of talking about the emotions that you're experiencing as you two are walking this out together.
Yeah, and what we like to do is start off with simple questions such as like, how are you feeling now about the business? I mean, not the business, sorry, about the marriage. We're not talking about the business now. This is not the business part. This is the marriage part. So let's be clear. And it's easy to slide right on in and be like, yeah, so the business is making me feel like, no. This is about the marriage part. So let's make sure we're super clear on that. So how are you feeling about our marriage? Like how this last 30 days, right? How have you been feeling about it? Is this ideally what we were working towards? And then it's like, well, what can we do to make this better? And then what do you need from me? How can I help you in the marriage? We're not talking about the business yet. That's going to come. And that's often so easy to talk about. And so when we talk about the marriage piece, it's really about you all. It's about how have your date nights been going? Are you missing date nights? Are you skipping them? Are you even present on date nights? Like you could be there, but not be there. Like, and sometimes people can think, oh, well, because you work together or you're always together working, that doesn't count as quality time. That's fake quality time. That's not real quality time, right? So making sure that you are clear personally about where you are, and then find out where your spouse is. And then what are you all planning to do? Now, this for us, we use the backdrop of our annual planning for our marriage, our ideal of like, what do we want our marriage to look like at the end of the year? And then what are those activities or conversations or new adventures or experiences that we want to have?
And those
what does that look like?
Yeah, those adventures and experiences could also be things that you want to learn.
Yeah.
Things that you want to do to improve maybe the communication in your marriage or something along those lines. So it's I know when we say experiences, don't just think about I always wanted to go to Niagara Falls. That's not what we're talking about. But that may be an experience you want to have. Yeah. But don't limit it to that.
That's good. Yeah, that's really good. So what areas in your marriage do you want to focus in on? So what we do during this time is we look at our annual to say, okay, what do we say we want to be focusing on? When we planned back in December, what did we say we wanted to have accomplished in our marriage by July? What did we say? And are we there? And if not, how far away are we from that? And if not, why not? Like, what did we allow to get in the way, to take precedent, to take priority over us really protecting our marriage? What was it? Because August is next week. So if we don't know what it was, guess what? That distraction is going to pop up again and we're going to repeat it. So let's get in front of it. Or, hey, we almost did it, or we're almost there, or we're right on track. This is great. So what do we need? What do we do to get to this place? And what do we need to keep doing to continue on in this direction as we go into August? So just it's very practical, but it's powerful, and being intentional with your energy, being intentional with your resources, being intentional with you all together. It really sets the tone for your home and for your business. Okay, so once we get through that part of it, we write and jot all these things down and say, okay, this is what worked for our marriage. This is what didn't work. And maybe maybe like for us, our goal is to make sure that we're stopping at a certain time each day. And have we been doing that? Or have we been like, well, give me like 30 more minutes, turn into 45 more minutes, turn into 1 more hour? Like what have we been doing? And what does that mean we need to start doing as we go into the next month for our marriage, really keeping it a priority? So I wanted to break that part down because these are like the little things. It seems like it's not really that much, but it does turn into a lot when over time you see in 30 days, wow, we didn't reach our marriage goals for this month. Or do we have any marriage goals? Are we just so busy doing what we do in life that we are not even looking at what we like ideally for our marriage to look like? And starting, even if it's starting from that place, start from there. Like,
yeah. And let me also say
Yeah.
this about what we want our marriage to look like. Break that down.
yeah,
What do I want to do this month that would improve my marriage as a husband? And then likewise, as a wife. And then talk about how you can bring that to a reality in the next 30 days or what have you. So
That's good.
don't just look at it as a collective, but look at it as what are you individually, singularly, as a husband and a wife, going to do to bring whatever you need to do in order to have that experience within your marriage. Because marriage is not going to arrive there unless the husband arrives there and the wife arrives there, or should I say, goes there, right? So you have to go there to arrive there.
There's that. And so that's the first part of our conversation. As a bridge, as we go into the second part of the conversation, it's just a 2-part convo. This is a monthly convo that we recommend every single married entrepreneur couple needs to have. It's a must-have convo at least once a month. This is the monthly. And this breaks down later on. This is connected to the annual, which breaks down later on to our weeklies, legacy sessions, and then to our daily 10-minute in and outs, right? In and outs. So here's the thing. We can be working so diligently in building our legacy, building the business and doing all the things that it turns into its own little rat race. And you may be thinking, oh, this is great, great, great in the business. But then is there a price that's being paid that is not going to be, that is not okay? I'll say that, because there is sacrifice. There will be sacrifices along the way as you're building. But how big of a sacrifice are you all willing to make, right? And so I want to say this because this week, right now, the latest episode out on the Marriedpreneur Life podcast, quick plug, is the 2 types of momentum for married entrepreneurs. And sometimes we can get caught up thinking, oh, we're moving, we're doing this, and we're closing this, and we're moving over here and doing that we think, oh, we get all this movement going on, but at the expense of what? Like, and what is that the way that you want to build? Because how you start to build something is how you continue to build something. And if you're starting on a foundation that is not how you want it to be, and it's not based on your core values, then guess what? You're going to continue to build this thing, this legacy, right? Or this empire, if you will. And it's based on the wrong foundation. It's not on your core values.
Yeah. And let me also add to this, because a picture just sort of came to my mind. It's like when you learn a new skill, or back up, before you actually get trained in a new skill, you just start doing it. It's kind of like a person who never takes golf lessons, but they go out and they just start golfing. And what happens is that what you end up doing is you end up cementing bad behavior, bad posture, bad habits. And a lot of times when you just keep going like that without really assessing and evaluating that, you're assuming that you're going to hit these goals, and you may have some momentum there. You may have some legitimate momentum, closing deals and this, that, and the other, and so forth.
Hitting those balls.
But are you also cementing bad mechanics, bad posture, bad habits in your marriage? And so what happens is you establish, we can do all this XYZ in business at the expense of the marriage because we've always done it. And then when you decide to change it, it's more difficult because you've already developed doing it that way. So the sooner you evaluate that and be very honest about it, then obviously that's a turning point for you. So you can say, you know what? Yeah, there are going to be seasons of sacrifice, sometimes greater, sometimes lesser, but sacrifices to produce what? And to your point, at the expense of what?
I know y'all on the same page with that.
And do we agree that this is the sacrifice we want to pay
right now
in order to get XYZ?
Oof, that's a whole word. So check out that podcast. I think it's episode 212. The 2 types of momentum for marriedpreneurs. So you have the good and you have the toxic, and they are not the same, but they may look the same on the outside many times. And sometimes you think you're building the right momentum.
They may, yeah.
But you can be on the wrong train, going to the wrong destination real fast. And so anyway, check that out. And if you're having signs of like overwhelm and anxiety and just, long days for long seasons with little to no boundaries, then you likely are ready to change that, and there is a better way. So that podcast episode is so critical because we used to live like roommates when we were building with the bad or the toxic momentum. We were definitely better roommates than we were spouses. And we've been there. So we're speaking from experience in that way. So hopefully that is a resource, a great resource for you all, Marriedpreneur Life Podcast. You can check that out on your favorite listening platform.
Yep.
And now let's go over to the second part of our monthly legacy meeting as marriedpreneurs. So we talked about the marriage part, and of course, you know what's up next, right? Business. So we talk about the business. Now, it may look a little different if you are a spousalpreneur versus an indiepreneur versus a couplepreneur, and that's okay. But it's important to have it. Let's just say for spousalpreneurs, when we first got married, we were definitely spousalpreneurs, as I was working my business full time, and he was working the 9 to 5. And he, though, had an opportunity to still know something about my business, even though he wasn't in the day-to-day of it. It was about, okay, what are we building together in our legacy, and how does this business play a part? Like, what does this look like? And so also we talk about what has been working well, what wasn't working well for me. And based on the support, based on your capacity, based on how involved your spouse may or may not be in your business, will determine how this conversation looks. But the conversation needs to be had, because even though you may not be in the same business, like building the business together, you're building the same legacy. And so you have to be clear about what part does this business play in our legacy. And the spouse who is not in the business or running it needs to be clear on what it's all about, because then when those the time for the sacrifices come, that spouse understands, oh yes, this is what we talked about. We're building this legacy. It's not just, you building your business, you doing what you do over there per se, right? So that's important to understand, even if it's just at a high view of, okay, this is what's going on in the business. They may not be your business partner, but you can say, this is what we're working on. This is what went well, what didn't go so well. And then the part comes of like the support. The spouse can talk about, well, how can I support you? You can say, this is what I would love to have you support me and to support the business in this way. And that can look different, right? It looks different.
Yeah, it may not even be directly in the business. It may be something in the home that allows the entrepreneur to run faster in the business.
That's good. Yeah, that's really good. That's so true. So it may not be directly in that business. So that could be how a conversation may look as spousalpreneurs. And then as indiepreneurs, you're in your own individual businesses, running your own world and going, straight ahead to your finish line. This is a great time to pause and to come together and be like, okay, so what's going on in your business? And then you asking me, what's going on in your business? Yep. And then we talk about, okay, last 30 days, this is what we did. This is what y'all did. Okay, this is what went well for us. This is what went well for you. Didn't go well, what we're going to tweak. And you can just keep, and then how can we support, right? It's still that support. It's always that question of, how can I support you?
How can I support you?
Right. And then as couplepreneurs, it's literally that same type of conversation, but you're in it. So as a couplepreneur part for us now, even though we're maybe in the same business, we're not over the same departments, right? Or the same areas in the business. So when we do our check-ins, we're talking about what's going on in that department, in your department, right? And then you're asking me what's going on in your department. So then we're able to talk about that as the business as a whole. And then still,
and what's going on is how what's working well, what's not working well.
Yeah.
So that maybe your spouse can help you think of a way to be more efficient or to be more effective. Maybe there's a creative idea that they can have. Well, why don't you try it this way? And you're like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Boom. And,
this is so good. So true. So all of it really winds or comes down to, how can we support? How can I support you in this?
Mm-hmm.
Or if there are things that have been ticking me off, like, listen, I really don't like it when you respond this way. Like, that makes me feel like this is a great time to talk about it because, this is like set aside time for this. This is a set aside time to have this conversation. And I think these are great too. We're doing a little staycation, like getaway. We're not flying anywhere, but we're going not too far from here. And we're going to do our monthly Convo during that. So it's really a business trip. But we'll be able to get some downtime too, but we're going to have a clear mind to talk through the last 30 days on this business trip and get some R&R at the same time. So It's just like a win-win opportunity. And I think as marriedpreneurs, there's such a great advantage to that. Like to get away, have the business send you away each, however often, if you do a monthly or, you don't have to go away, but that's just something that we decided to do. And we're looking forward to it, and really make sure that we have all of our ducks in the row. By the time we get back, we know where we're going next. We, pray together through all of this and get God's direction through it all as well, and come back refreshed and clear on the assignment. Like we just have to understand the assignment. So anything else, husband?
That's it.
So
I hope this has been helpful for you guys, because listen, these are things that we're doing that's working. Mm-hmm. And so we're telling you real talk from the trenches. Yeah. So, and as being both indie and couplepreneurs, it really, really helps to talk through these things in a very strategic and deliberate way. So
and this is a great time to do it. If you haven't had your monthly legacy mastermind or session with your spouse, now this is the week to do it. This is the weekend to do it as you go into the next month. And trust and believe, if you haven't been doing these, trust and believe that all types of distractions are going to pop up, and you're going to be like, oh my goodness, but this came up, and this, just be ready for it, and make sure you barricade yourselves to be like, we're going to do this meeting, and maybe we have to change the time a few times, but we're going to make it happen, because once you do that, there's such a special grace to move forward together, and you have that clarity. That's what I'm about to say, the clarity. You can't put a price on clarity. So anyway, we hope that this has been amazing for you all. Make sure you let us know in the comments. We'll go ahead and put this up for you all on IG and then in Facebook as well. We'll leave this up as well, so you all can come back and watch it. This is the time to do it, y'all. Plan it, steward those gifts well. Okay. Oh, for those of you who didn't hear earlier, we did create a checklist. If you're wanting more content like this, is a free checklist that we've created with our Marriedpreneur operating systems over in the link in the bio, marriedpreneurlife.com. You can download that. It's really a fierce resource for married entrepreneurs, and a very clear overview for the marriage legacy systems, as well as the marketplace legacy systems, and a monthly checklist is in there, and a quarterly checklist is in there. Like, y'all have it's like a little starter pack. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all for free. So go take a look at it, go grab it, go use it, and let us know your results as well too. Yes, Oliver, definitely come back and let us know how you all are using it. All right, y'all have a good one. Until next time.
Living purposefully,
powerfully,
and profitably in sync.
Peace out. God bless. I got IG.